every month, month by month, it'll be that. I mean, the Shabbos with Shabbat, it'll be every single Shabbos. Yom Basel Ishtach Voice Lefone, Amar Hashem, all flesh will come and bow down before me, says Hashem. Yisa B'Yalkut is brought down the Yalkut Shemoinim. Am Yisrael, the Yidden said, Rebbeinu Shalom, Master of the Universe, Amos Hayatam Matzir Lanus HaKovid, when will you return to us the honor Shahayinu Oilim B'Shloishis Pa'amir Golim, that we would go up 3 times for the pilgrimage Yom Tovim, in other words, for Sukkot, Pesach, Shavuos, V'Roimus HaShechina, and we saw the Shechina. So Yidden are talking to the Eibush and say, we can't wait. When will this happen again? Amle HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibush responded to the Yidden, Bona, my children. But Olam has, in this world, in other words, before Mashiach comes, Olam B'Shana, Shalosh Bar, you would go up to be Ola Regel to the Beis HaMikdash 3 times a year. Yeah, case when the end will come, in other words, when Mashiach will come, you will in the future go up every single month. That will be every month. It says in Yeshaya that you will go up to Yerushalayim. And a different place, the Chazal add, not only did they should tell the Yid that they will go up every single month, but even more so, B'chol Shabbos at Masidim Lias Olam Bay, and every Shabbos you're going to be going up to Yerushalayim. Like it says, Kulam De Shabbos B'Shabbat, every single Shabbos you'll be going up. Mamshech Sham, Medrash continues over there. Hey, how is it possible to do this? How is it possible that every person come to Yerushalayim every single month and every single Shabbos? In those days, before there was the breakthroughs in transportation, it was it would take weeks, if not months, to be able to get from wherever a Yid was to Yerushalayim. So if so, it was impossible to be there for every month. By the time, let's say, if it took, even in Eretz Yisrael, it took 2 weeks, let's say, to travel to get to Yerushalayim. So by the time you traveled and you got there for Rosh Chodesh, forget about coming there for Shabbos. By the time you came there for Rosh Chodesh, you had to turn around and go back. Or by the time you got back home from being there for Rosh Chodesh, you had to turn around and go back. So therefore, Allah Avin clouds come and carry them and bring them to Yerushalayim. What we would call, perhaps in modern parlance, it's referring to flying. This is what the Navi praises. Mi Eila, who are these? In other words, who is amazing as the Eden? Ka'av Te'ufena, they will fly like clouds. And this means that the clouds will bring the Eden prior to Shabbos, and prior to Rosh Chodesh will bring them to Yerushalayim. And afterwards, the clouds will return the Eden back home. Since going up to Yerushalayim every single month and every single Shabbos will be similar to going up for Ola Regel, because that's what Hashem compares it to. He says, in Olam Hazeh, these days, you went up only 3 times a year. Mashiach comes, you'll go up every Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. So that means it's identical. It's not any less or any different. At movements, it's understood. That going up to Yerushalayim every month and every Rosh Chodesh and every Shabbos will be the same advantage and quality of going up to for Yom Tov. That it says, Chazal said Rosh Shem Shabbalei Rois Kach Bal Lirois. Just like when a Yid comes to the Beis HaMikdash to appear to be Kaviyachol seen by Hashem, so too he comes to see godliness. Just like the Eibishter sees the person that comes up to be Oila Regel, so too also the Yid will see the Eibishter. Like it says, Yashar Yetzer from Neimoy, they will straight directly, they will see his face. In other words, the face of the Eibishter. So in other words, just like it was by Aliyah Regel 3 times a year, that we saw Gilui Elikuz, just like Hashem saw us, we saw Hashem. In the same way, every Rosh Chodesh and every Shabbos when Mashiach comes, that will go up to Yerushalayim, it'll be the same Gilui Elikuz like we had then, the 3 times a year during before the times of Mashiach. Like Alter Rebbe is many times. Since the neshama is primary and the body is only ancillary, auxiliary to the body, to the neshama, and move on, the ikering in Aliyah Regel is understood, the primary idea of being Oila Regel, and it's similar to that, the ascent that will be every single month, etc., in every single Shabbos, Iban Neshama is concerning the neshama. We can move before the Torah Parshas Brach. Like it's also understood in what's explained. Look at the Torah on Parshas Brach of Masha Oimrim Minuschat Filam. When we say in davening, we say Ve'ein anu yicholim lalois v'lirois l'shtakus v'nech. We are bemoaning the fact that we are not able to go up and to see and to bow down before you. So from this, we're going to see about the inner meaning of the Aliyah L'Regel that has to do with the Neshama. Similarly, we need to understand, what does it mean bowing down? That he's saying we cannot bow down. Bowing down is a physical action, seemingly. It's a physical action. Why are we incapable of doing it? Why can't we do it? That what was talking about, going up and seeing. It's impossible, like it says, because the hand that stretched out against your base of Mikdash destroyed the base of Mikdash. Therefore, it's impossible for us to go up to the base of Mikdash. But bowing down, it's possible to be every place before Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe explains, why are we saying in davening that we can't even go to bow down? So he says Mavai and explains that the intention over here is not about the bowing down the body. Rather, the reference is to the inner bowing down of the neshama. That inner bowing down of the neshama is not possible. The bowing down of the neshama, so this explains that the idea of usually the head is higher than the body with bowing down. I make the head totally bottle. I show it's on the same level like the rest of my body, completely subservient to Hashem. So when we're saying we cannot bow down, we're not talking about physical bowing. Physical bowing, if Hashem told us to, we'd be able to do it even now. But here we're talking about that the bowing down indicates something spiritual. Therefore, going back to our case, going back to Oila Regel, going back to the idea about what we will do when Mashiach comes, that we will have the Aliyah L'Regel, and it won't just be 3 times a year, but it'll be every month and every Shabbos. So Mezem move on. This understood Allah is kam v'kamish keinu gam b'inyaneinu. How much more so? It's also in our topic, the Ikerin in Aliyah v'hoy mechosh b'chodshech ului b'nishtam. The primary ascent that's going to be every single month is not about physically that our body is going to travel to Yerushalayim, but the primary idea is about the neshama. Just like we said, the ishtachava, the lack of bowing down that we can't do now is something lacking in the neshama. So when Mashiach comes and we will go up, so it's primarily the neshama experience, not so much the body experience. The advantage and the elevation that is occurs in the neshama in the future. When we will be going up in the future, It's much higher than it was during the Aliyah for the Yom Tovim in the times when Beis Hamikdash stood. So in other words, not only was it then a level of like Aliyah as far as the Neshama is concerned, and now we have an Aliyah of the Neshama of a higher level of Aliyah. I'm sorry. Now also we'll have that Aliyah of the Neshama, but even more so that now Mashiach comes, and we'll be doing it every month, or we're doing it every Shabbos. The Aliyah will be even greater for the Neshama than the Aliyah for the Neshama that there was before. Any questions before we go on? Okay, top of the second page of the Mimer, 298. Kashuzam on the board, the entire part of such a book. As I said, it's a mimer from that the Rebbe said on Shabbos Parshas Matzis Masas. He connected what's explained to the Torah on last week's Parsha Al Pasuk. Eila Masas Bnei Yisrael Shiyotz Meret Mitzrayim Gomer. These are the travels of the Bnei Yisrael that went out from the land of Mitzrayim. Biyad Moshe v'Aaron, through Moshe and Aaron. In Lashon Eila Masas, to be able to understand the expression. These are the travels. These are the journeys. The Lashon Rabim that said in the plural. That they went out of the land of Mitzrayim, leaving Mitzrayim was only the first exit, only the first travel that they traveled from the city of Ramses. That was Mitzrayim. The Sukkot that was outside of Mitzrayim. In other words, if it would have just said Elu Maseh B'nai Yisrael, and it wouldn't have added the word Ashviyot Mitzrayim, it'd be fine. Because it's enumerating all the travels of the Eden. They went from this place to that place to the other place. But when it says and adds to the words Elu Maseh B'nai Yisrael Shiyotzu Meret Mitzrayim, the Maseh is referring to going out of Mitzrayim. One of the explanations is that Elu Maseh B'nai Yisrael, these are the travels of B'nai Yisrael, and who are the B'nai Yisrael? Shiyotzu Meret Mitzrayim. But in the simple reading, it seems to be saying that it's the travels going out of Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim was only one trip. It wasn't multiple travels. It wasn't 42 travels that the Torah knew. So that's one question the Alter Rebbe asked in the Torah Parshas Matzis. Gam Lahavin also we need to understand Mao B'yad Moshe v'Aaron. What does it mean by the hand of Moshe and Aaron? What does it mean that both of them were involved in the idea of this trip? The Gam. And even more so, the question is, of the Masas that he enumerates, Eila Maseh B'nai Yisrael, Aaron passed away some of the trips before they actually concluded all their journeys. So when it says, Eila Maseh B'nai Yisrael, Ashiyotzu Meret Mitzrayim, B'yad Moshe v'Aaron, and it's enumerating all the travels. But not all the travels Aaron was there. Aaron already passed away. But you call some Parsha saying, like it says in the Parshas Maseh, V'yala, not Kohen al Hoyra but Kohen Yom L'Sham, that Aaron, the Kohen, rose up to Hoyra and he passed away with it. V'achar kach mamshich, and afterwards the pasuk continues, further travels. V'yisem Hoyra Gomer, the travels from Hoyra U'moyna oid masois, and he enumerates more travels. So we see that the Maseh B'nai Yisrael were not completely B'yad Moshe v'Aaron. Some of them were only Moshe alone. So why does it say B'yad Moshe v'Aaron when not all the journeys were by Aaron? Who the idea behind this is, it says in the pasuk, you led, you directed your nation like sheep. B'yad Moshe v'Aaron. It also says that same expression like it says in the parsha. It says you led your nation like sheep in the hands of Moshe v'Aaron. The Nochisa, when it says you led, you caused them to like travel. Inyan hamasos. It's the idea of the travels that we were just talking about in the last week's parsha. By Yisu they traveled. By Yachnu they encamped. The travels, the encampments, that has to be through Moshe and Aaron. So now he's going to explain the role that Moshe and Aaron have in the travels of the Eden by explaining what the idea of traveling is the ruchnis. And the ruchnis, the idea of travels, is something that's facilitated through Moshe Nan. Hine Claudius Inyan Amasoyes, who Inyan Alim al Matalamayla, general idea of travels is going up from below to above. This means the person finds himself below, but he has to go up from his level. So he's at whatever level he is on the bottom, and he's going up higher and higher. Just like in a simple sense. They went from Mitzrayim, they were in a state of Memtet, Shari Tuma, 49 gates of Tuma, Eretz Haaretz, the most disgusting place in the land, in the world, and to go up and up and up till they reach the Eretz Toiva Rechav, the good and broad land, the land that has in it all the potential for Ruchnis, etc., etc. So the idea of travels is going up higher and higher. But since a person finds himself below, someone that's tied up, someone that's locked up, cannot release themselves from imprisonment. They need someone else to help them along. Therefore, there needs to be an empowerment that comes from above to assist the person in their travels and is going up in his level from below to above. That's the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Kos, like it says, that Moshe wrote down their goings to their travels. So what's that expression? Moitza Ayam Lamasa Ayam. You could have said he wrote it down the travels. What's the Moitza Ayam Lamasa Ayam? I knew Moshe Himshach Mchinas Moitza Ayam. Moshe drew down from the levels where they came out from. Where did the Yidden come out from? Shu Inyan Makir Neshamas Israel. That Moshe, that the Moitza Ayam, that's the source of Jewish souls. And this Hamshacha was, he wrote their Moitza Ayam L'Masa Ayam. What's the idea of writing? He drew this down below in action. Writing shows that something is set ink on paper, it's drawn down into the physical world. Moshe Rabbeinu was Vayichtoi. He drew down from the level of Moitza Ayam that it should come down all the way into ink on parchment. This drawing down from where they came from their source, is for the sake of their travels. So they should be able to have this travels that we spent before, the masim, the masois that they went from below to above. Through this, they should become able to become elevated from below to above. So now he explains what is the empowerment of Bechlolis in general, the idea of what Moshe Rabbeinu drew down to empower us, that's the idea of Torah mitzvahs. That's the idea of Moshe. Kibbul Torah Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu received the Torah from Har Sinai. Fiksiv Zichru Torahs Moshe Avdi, remember the Torah of Moshe, my servant. Torah mitzvahs is drawing down from above to below, like we said. It's something received from Har Sinai. And this is what Moshe is about. Moshe is the idea of Torah mitzvahs. So Moshe empowered us through the Torah mitzvahs that he brought down from above. He brought down that Torah mitzvah from above. That came, that brought the empowerment from the source of the Yidden. So they should be able to do Lamasa Ayam. They should be able to do their travel. Yet Moshe's participation and empowerment in the travels is not the sole factor, and it's insufficient. We need to have also Aaron. Since there also has to be that avoided down below. That's also the idea that you led them like sheep. What's the idea that David Melech says in Tehillim, Kapitel Ayin Zayin, where it says this pasuk, says, you led them like sheep. So he explains, Sayin umeloshen yitzia. The word Sayin is from the word say, go out, from the word going out. The one that's below and on the bottom in his avodah has to leave behind his level. That's the ascent going from below to above. So that's the Nochkisok saying that it's you led them to go out of where they are at, to go up higher. And like we said before, the idea of travels is about going from a lower place to a higher place, going from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael. And because of that, it's not just about drawing down from Mitzrayim, but it's also about what we have to do down below. So there needs to be another aspect of assistance. Therefore, there also has to be the idea of Aaron. Aaron is the idea of ascent. Instead of Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe brought down the Torah on Har Sinai from above to below. Aaron is about going from below to above. The Aaron is the same letters like the word appear, visible. Something that is seen and something that's revealed. What's the concept behind this? Aaron's job is to reveal that which is concealed. Aaron reveals the concealed love that's in the heart of every single Yid. It should be in such a manner that it says that in your light, the light will be visible. So we make and reveal an Aaron, being that he's Halom al-Matal, he reveals the inner light that's in every Yid, the oir of Hashem that's in every Yid, the Avim steps. And that we see this reflected also in Aaron's avodah, like it says, speak to Aaron and tell them, is when you kindle and cause the candles to go up. We know that Aaron's job is to make raise up. It doesn't say when you kindle, when you light the fire of Neis. The job of Aaron is to elevate all the 7 candles, that these correspond to the 7 types of Yidden, corresponding to the 7 midas, those that serve with midas HaChesed, those that serve with midas HaGvura, etc., etc. And not only does he kindle them, but he's constantly got to do the kindling, but like the Rashi says, that the way Aaron HaKohen kindles us, that is in such a way that the fire should not be going up on our own. That he doesn't just need to hold our hand the whole time, but he elevates us to a state that we are rising on our own. The B'cholus, avodas hatefillah in general, that is the avodah of davening, revealing that inner love, having that fire that goes up to Hashem. That's the idea of davening. So and that's the general difference in Moshe, what Moshe corresponds to, and what Aaron stands for. The Moshe in Yanu Torah, Moshe's idea is Torah, which is Amshachim al Mailamata, which is drawing down from above to below. The Nikra Sheshvina de Malcha, he is called the escort of the king. By Chasana, we have Sheshvinin. We have those that escort the chassan to the chuppah, and we have sheshvinin of the kala. We have those that escort the kala to the chuppah. The same thing, Matan Torah, the Chazal say, is likened to the chasana of the chassan and kala of Hashem and the Yidden. And Moshe Rabbeinu was called sheshvina de malcha, the escort of the king, who may be hamelach alamat v'nisa. He brings the king, the Eibishter, to his queen. And to such a degree that he takes the Eibishter and Moshe Rabbeinu draws him down to this low world. It's so low does he bring the king down, even to a marketplace of tanners. Those that work on hides, at the end of part of the gives a whole analogy that the king, who is the chassan, is going to go find his kala, and he's going to go look for his kala, even if it means entering the most lowest place, the smelly place, the place where they work the hides of animals. And that's Moshe. Moshe is taking the Eibishter down. And that's why it's the idea of Torah and the idea of Malmailamat, and he's empowering the Yidden to be able to do the travels, because there's some shach that comes from above to below. Enkin Aaron, as opposed to Aaron, top of page, the third page of the Maimon, 299. Yoni who avoids Tefillah, the idea of Aaron is the avoid of davening. Allah Malmata Lamaila, the elevation from below to above. V'nikra the matronisa, he's called the escort of the queen, just like the Kala has the escorts, the same thing. The Yidden are the queen of Hashem. They're being escorted and elevated by Aaron HaKoyin. Shumailas called Neshams Yisrael matronisa. Like we said before, the job of Aaron is to elevate all the Neshams Yisrael who are called the queen. He elevates in such a degree that the flame goes up on its own. This means they're going up by their own avoida. Their own level is the going up. They don't need to have Aaron holding their hands the whole time. To such a degree are they elevated, etc. At all the 7 branches of Menorah and Bechinas Miksha Achas, they're considered one solid piece. For the Torah Parshat Savim, like explained to the Torah Parshat Savim, that what is the solid idea that the Menorah, which represents all the Neshamas Yisrael, what's the concept behind it, that it's Miksha Achas, that they're considered like one solid piece? So he says that, like it says in the Torah Parshat Savim, that Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kulchem, what's the expression of Kulchem? Shekulam Nitzavim Ka'achad, and all the Yidden are standing solid like one. Until without a person being able to differentiate and find the head or the end. Until, like it's explained in the Geras HaKodesh, every single one is more repaired and more fixed up than its fellow. Meaning, why do we say that there's no Rosh V'Sof? What does it mean that there's no Rosh V'Sof? Because each one has something that someone else needs. Like even in a body. Even though there's a head of a body, and the head of the body is the top part, and the leader of the body, and the legs of the body is the lower part of the body. Seemingly the head is higher than the legs. Yet on the other hand, if the head wants to go learn, the head wants to go daven, it needs the legs to bring him there. So therefore, there's every part of the body contributes something. He's mesukin yosem chaveri. He has something that the other one doesn't have. So that's why we say that all Klal Yisrael is miyuchad in such a way, because when it comes to transporting the person to the shul, so the legs are the head. The legs are the ones that are accomplishing this. The same thing, every single Yid, even though in Klal Yisrael we know there's heads and there's feet and so on, but the true Achdus is that everyone has their own purpose and own mission. Why does it say, seemingly repetitive, it says Moshe Rabbeinu transcribed, they're going out to their travel. And then he says, and these are the travels that are going out. So in addition to the fact that it's repetitive, it's also the opposite. He starts off, they're going out, and then he says to their travels, and then he says, and these are the travels that are going out. How comes it say it in that type of way? Because it's talking about these two things of Moshe and Aaron. Moshe affected the drawing down from their going out to their travels. And after Moshe Rabbeinu empowered the Yidden to draw down from their source and to come down here into this world, afterwards, these were the travels, the elevation that we said travels about going from below to above, to their source back. They Aaron through Aaron. So this is the reason why it says Biyad Moshe v'Aaron, even though the actual travels were not all done by Aaron. Some of the travels were only Moshe because Aaron passed away, because the entire spiritual idea of the travels of Neshamas Yisrael is through Aaron. And perhaps it's also connected with the idea, Aaron doesn't have to hold their hand the whole time. Even when he passed away, they are still going up in the Mas'ayim L'Mitzayim. Any questions?